Hi, I'm Melinda, and recently I found myself in a very controversial and vulnerable position because suddenly my dad stopped being just my parent. He suddenly became my classmate, and I will definitely never forget this experience. I'm ready to share with you this unusual story. I don't know about you, but my best friend is my dad. Well, I also have a normal relationship with my mom, but she is stricter and more demanding, while Dad is completely different. With him, you can listen to rock music and ride a bike or go skateboarding. I just adore him and can't even imagine what I would do without him. It's very cool when Dad is on the same page with you. And he is always ready to cover up for me, protecting me from my mom in case I suddenly risk falling into her disfavor. For example, if Dad sees that I'm late and I don't manage to come home by the appointed time, he will just invite my mother for a walk or to a restaurant to distract her and help me get home unnoticed. Oh, if you only knew how many tricks like this we pulled together. I hope Mom knows nothing about it. But still, there are such moments when my dad and I have some disagreements. This happens very rarely, and as a rule, we find a compromise very quickly. Usually, our opinions differ on matters of cleaning, cooking, and, of course, studying. I think many teenagers are familiar with these problems. By the way, tell me in the comments if you quarrel with your parents for the same or some other reasons. So, once my dad and I got to such a point when our conflict lasted a long time. Well, we couldn't find a way to agree, and of course, this was all about studying. It's just that, at some moment, I stopped paying due attention to learning and the volleyball classes after lessons, as well as extra math classes. As a result, my performance in all the spheres greatly deteriorated. This made Dad really upset, and he kept trying to persuade me to pull myself together and get back to the usual rhythm. I tried, honestly, but nothing worked for me. Well, I found a boyfriend who I really liked, and I wanted to spend time with him as long as possible. His name is Derek, and he's new in our class. So, when he appeared, the priorities changed, and studying faded into the background. But in spite of everything, Dad tried as hard as possible to prove to me that if one wants, they can manage to have a finger in every pie, but I was just lazy. I told him it wasn't possible. In the end, Dad could not hold it anymore and said that he would soon prove to me that he was right. But at that moment, I had no idea how he was going to do it. A few days after this conversation, when entering the classroom, I was dumbfounded. My classmates told me that we had a new student and that I would sit next to him. Well, you've already understood who this is, haven't you? Yeah, it was my dad. He waved at me happily and said, "Hi, I'm Peter." Damn it! I definitely didn't expect this and did not know how to react. On the one hand, I wanted to ask him what the hell. But on the other hand, my classmates didn't know who we were to each other, and it was better for me to not give myself away. So I silently walked into the classroom and sat down next to my new desk mate. At the very first break, the guys began to whisper to each other about the elderly new student, and frankly were poking fun at him. Dad hadn't heard this, but I think even if he had, he wouldn't have cared. But I was really upset with it, and I was afraid that everyone would learn the truth. They would just laugh at me and call me Daddy's daughter. The first day was very stressful, and I hoped that after the lesson, everything would be over and Dad would go home. But that was not the case, as it turned out. He signed up for volleyball classes along with me. "Dad, what does it all mean? Stop this circus immediately and go home," I said at the very first opportunity. But he just smiled and said that he couldn't miss lessons, so he would have to go to volleyball class. Oh yeah, right before the class, Derek approached me. And like everyone else, he didn't know who our new student was to me. So he asked what this elderly schoolboy wanted from me. It just seemed to him that we knew each other. So he decided to clear things up. But I assured him that we were just talking about homework and nothing else. And after Derek, my dad came up to me again and asked who he was and why he behaved in such a weird manner with his daughter. Damn it. When the volleyball class began, I was very worried about the fact that because of my dad, I would again find myself in an unpleasant situation. And it turned out this was for a reason. At some point, he was so excited with playing that he passed the ball to me saying, "Catch it, daughter." Ah! At that moment, I almost melted into the ground, and my classmates began to laugh at us and asked if he wanted to adopt our whole class. And if you think that after the volleyball dad went home, then they would stop doing it, but no. He went to math class as well, and again sat down at the same desk with me, driving Derek away. Because of this, they had a conflict during the break. Derek said that I was his girlfriend, and that he shouldn't dare approach me. Dad looked at me surprisingly, saying, "I didn't even know she was dating someone." In short, he behaved in a very stupid manner, every now and then setting me up in front of the other guys. At home, we had a serious conversation. I shouted that Dad had no right to interfere in my life in such a rude manner and make a monkey out of me in front of my classmates, while he said that I hid the existence of Derek from him, which is why he had to watch me even more carefully. In short, during that conversation, I realized that this time we would not be able to reach a compromise. So I decided to do a crazy thing. The next day, I came to school and told all my classmates that I wanted to introduce my dad to them, and pointed to him. Apparently, Dad was not ready for such a twist, and the guys didn't believe me at first, and then they realized that I wasn't lying. Then some of them began to laugh, while others, on the contrary, said that I was lucky to have such a dad, and I felt relieved and calm because everyone knew the truth, and I had nothing to fear. Since that day, Dad openly urged me on in my studies, sometimes helped me with difficult subjects. After lessons, he hurried me up and told me to go to volleyball classes faster. And after volleyball, he told me to hurry up and not to be late for my extra math class. Yes, during the breaks, he did not let me talk to Derek at all, saying that I could actually go with him after all the lessons, when there would be no need to rush anywhere. And in some sense, he was right. I really managed to do everything. And Dad wasn't even against my relationship with Derek. I never thought before that it was possible to organize one's day in such a wise and efficient manner. Well, my dad is great. And soon I realized that I was glad that he decided to become my classmate. But I really wanted to know the answer to the question, when will it end? And Dad assured me that there were several days left, during which he would still stay next to me to consolidate the result. And when there was only one day left before graduation, in an English lesson, we suddenly heard the alarm. The teacher and all the classmates started to panic, and then we smelled something burning. Yes, it was a fire, because a minute later, smoke appeared from under the door. Everyone was shouting and fussing, while I pressed against my dad tightly and asked him to do something. In fact, I didn't doubt him even for a minute, and he took control of the situation very quickly. First of all, he loudly told everyone to keep silent and sit down in their places. Then he asked Derek to approach him and ordered him to collect all the backpacks from the guys and quickly take everything out of them. We didn't understand what it was for, but he obeyed him. Meanwhile, the classroom was filling with smoke more and more, and it was very difficult to control oneself. When all the backpacks were collected, Dad and Derek began to link their straps together. Then Dad opened the window and told Derek to climb down. He really didn't want to do this and wanted someone else to be the first. But Dad was unshakable, so Derek had no choice. With bated breath, everyone was waiting for him to be on the ground, and in a couple of minutes, he successfully descended. Then Dad told us to do the same as Derek, one after another, and start climbing down. Some of my classmates were shouting in panic that they were afraid of heights, while others said that they had weak hands and they would fall down. But Dad said with confidence that the window was our only way to get out, and if we wanted to live, we must save ourselves. And then the guys, one by one, began to climb down, while the smoke was approaching faster, and this escalated the situation even more. The guys got down one after another. It was scary, as well as creepy, and the air was thick. The smoke was already starting to enter the lungs of those who remained inside the classroom, and every minute mattered a lot. Olivia, who was among the last of us, clung to the window frame and started sobbing, saying that she was afraid and would rather die in a fire than hang at such a height. Then Dad told me to get down, and he would stay with Olivia. I really didn't want to leave my dad, but I had to save myself. So I climbed down. When I was on the ground, smoke was vigorously pouring out of our window, and I just started sobbing, realizing that my dad might not manage to get out in time, and my classmates froze in horror and looked up. Suddenly, we saw Olivia, who started climbing down slowly and hesitantly. "Hurry up!" the boys shouted to her, and as soon as she touched the ground, my dad appeared from a huge cloud of smoke. Then I was crying with joy, and my classmates encouraged him. Dad was coughing violently, and I saw that he was holding on by the skin of his teeth. But in the end, he did it. On that day, he became a hero of our school, and my classmates said that I had the best dad in the world. Well, in fact, I never doubted it. It's so good that he became my classmate for a while and gave us all a second life. As for Dad, he approved of Derek and said that I made an excellent choice. Would you like to sit at the same desk with your dad? Share your answers in the comments. Click on the thumbs up button below this video and subscribe to our channel.